So last night I was in the middle of shooting a video focusing on this Erica Synth's Zen delay, but I ran into a few quality assurance issues that I want to rant about, if you don't mind, for a moment or two. One is this Layla Mono S volume pedal. I think it's the Mono S. I bought this in November of 2023, so as of this video, it's less than a year old. And as I was playing, I looked down and realized that the rubber tread was half off of the volume pedal. And I realized, dang, this rubber tread has come loose. I was flabbergasted. I paid $279 for this volume pedal. It's not an inexpensive pedal. It's supposed to be the best. But now I'm wondering about, if they didn't bother to glue the tread on correctly, then what might be going on the inside of the pedal? What other potential quality compromises has Layla made on the inside of the pedal? I don't know. What I do know is that this Morley little alligator volume pedal, I've had this thing for almost 25 years, and I have played it on hundreds of Chords of Orion videos. It's been used on almost every one of my 13 album songs. This thing is rock solid. The circuitry has never failed. I've never had to do maintenance on it. And guess what? The rubber tread is still firmly stuck to the pedal. So I'm not done ranting about last night's video session. The Zen delay. Erica Synths. This thing is super expensive. It's like, I don't know, it's like $600 or something like that. It's on a shelf, neatly stowed away. And I went to pick it up the other day to get ready for the video shooting last night and realized that the VCF mode knob had fallen off. It's gone. I don't know where it is. It's probably on the basement floor somewhere. But I'm like, wait a minute. This is a $600 delay pedal. What the heck are the knobs falling off for? Meanwhile, I purchased the TC Electronic Flashback Triple Delay, which, obviously doesn't do the same thing as the Zen delay, but this thing is built like a tank. Now, I don't know if they still build them like tanks, but it's never failed me. And again, I've used it on hundreds of videos and dozens of my recorded songs. What's going on with the quality of high-end products? Oh, I'm not done ranting yet. A couple of years ago, I got this Ibanez Quest guitar, QX54QM, I believe, and I love this guitar. It's delighted me, but it's also disappointed me in a couple ways. One is this tone knob came loose within about a month after I got the guitar, and I had the dickens of a time, that's a new cuss word, dickens, of a time trying to get this knob off so I could tighten up the potentiometer back onto the body of the guitar. I almost broke the tone knob getting the actual knob off. The other thing that disappointed me about this guitar is the nut. The first time I went to swap the strings out, I realized the nut was not glued to the neck. I was like, what the heck? So and there were glue marks, right? So it obviously was glued from the factory. So I had to carefully go in and re-glue it, and it's all good now. But I paid almost, $1,200, $1,100, I think was what I paid for this guitar. That shouldn't be. Here's another quality assurance issue that I had with a guitar that was not cheap. This is my Carvin Fat Boy. Now, I got this almost 25 years ago, so the price I paid for it doesn't apply today, but it was not cheap. And within a year, both the volume and the tone potentiometers basically broke. They became very scratchy, noisy. They couldn't be cleaned up. And I think it was the volume control just stopped working altogether. I had to go in and replace the volume and tone pots. And I took that opportunity to buy very high quality potentiometers, and I haven't had any trouble since then. But this was not a cheap guitar. That should not have occurred. Now contrast that Carvin with this. a 1964 Fender Mustang. I personally have owned this guitar since I was a teenager in the 1970s, and I've played the snot out of it. I've beat it up and modified it and done everything I could as a teenager and college-age kid to destroy it, and I wasn't able to. Well, just this year, 2024, I had to replace the volume and tone pots because they finally gave up the ghost after 60 years, 1964 to 2024. I'm not complaining about that. That's pretty good. And the rest of the guitar, like I said, has held up wonderfully to an immense 50-year-long beating. And as I'm sure you're aware, guitars and guitar pedals are not the only types of gear that have quality assurance issues. Historically, I've been a big fan of Focusrite audio interfaces. They work great, they sound great, they're easy to use, especially with Mac computers. And so I've just continued to buy them, but I don't think I'm going to buy any more because they have a chronic issue with power supplies burning out. Both of my Focusrite rack mount units have had burned out power supplies after just a couple of years in both cases. That's really poor quality assurance on the internal circuitry of the units. So what can we do to avoid buying gear that might have quality assurance issues? Well, first, don't just watch YouTubers like me that demo and review gear. I mean, we have fun doing that, but we're not doing long-term tests of the gear to see how it's going to hold up. So after you watch the YouTube videos and kind of identify the gear that you might be interested, look in other sources to see if people are having problems with the gear. Reddit's probably not a bad place to go, right? And on some of the subreddits, and just see what people are saying about the gear itself. 2, oh man, this is making me annoyed. I would suggest consulting friends and colleagues who may have gear that you're interested in to see what their experience with the gear has been. Has it held up for them? Does it sound great for them? Have they enjoyed it after multiple years of ownership? 3, always buy from reputable dealers, whether it's a local dealer, if you have one, or a reputable, well-known online dealer that has a good return policy. And then don't be afraid to use that return policy if the gear doesn't totally delight you. So how about you? Do you have any quality assurance nightmare stories with gear that you've purchased? Drop a comment below so that we can all cry in our mugs of beer together. I'll see y'all on the next video.